Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the Unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, we look at the current energies, the intuitive wisdom and insights, and we go as guided. And there is so much to get to. So we begin a new month. It's December 4th, 2024. However, we are going to be dialing back just a few weeks. We're going back to go forward. There's retrogrades. Mercury's in retrograde. Mars is coming up retrograde. And so just to jump in with all of this, let's start with our main theme. It is the unwritten road, what lies ahead. And this has a lot to do with Pluto in Aquarius, the age of Aquarius, all of 4 of the 5 outer planets, the heavy hitters, are changing signs in 2025. Pluto just changed. So there's a lot of change. There's big energies. And there's a carryover with the Eagle Medicine Part 2, because we wanted to fully encapsulate all of these energies with Eagle Medicine. So the unwritten road, what lies ahead. Welcome, Alicia. She's saying, oh, look, the sun is just coming up in Los Angeles. Grin. So yes, indeed it is. Now, our co-themes for this episode is the unwritten road, what lies ahead, Eagle Medicine, and then Mars retrograde, restart your engines, a masterclass in revision. I loved this one. It came from the Unseen. And I am open to a whole new world. So you can see that there's this theme of Eagle Medicine being an overview, a higher view, and the unwritten road, what lies ahead, and all of this change. Beautiful, epic change. As we move into the main energies, it's a 12-month, so it's standstill, release. Today's the 4th, so it's youthful folly, try again. So there's an innocence in all of this. This isn't about getting it right or wrong. This is about beginning again, beginning anew, and doing so from that kind of youthful state of anything's possible. You'll see how that plays in. It's an 8-year, so we're unite from the inside out. The numbers culminate in a 15, which is about authenticity and humility. Those are the bedrock principles and the foundation for the greatest life ever. When we're authentic and when we're humble. And then, of course, the action to it is balance. And the 1 and the 5 become a 6, so it's about the conflict. Let it go. Let go of this internal conflict. Let go of the strife going on in the world, because that denotes, disharmony. Welcome, Olivia, from Chile, Texas. Yes, in more ways than one. And so here's this, I want to go back because the energies from November and just the first week in December, I mean, these energies that are occurring, these astrological influences that are occurring. On the 3rd of November, Mars, we had the Mars-Pluto opposition, which will occur 3 times. So these energies are playing out. And on the 15th of November, Saturn, the great teacher, stationed direct. On the 15th as well, we had the last of 4 full supermoons in Taurus that was conjunct Uranus, expect the unexpected, and Algol. It's a star in the head of Medusa. On the 19th, major, big, Pluto entered Aquarius, where it will stay for almost the next 20 years. On the 25th of November, Mercury stationed retrograde at 22 degrees Sagittarius. And then on the 30th of November / the 1st of December, depending, because it was really late on the 30th, was the new moon in Sagittarius, which we're going to be working with. So we had a change for the better, all of these powerful astrological changes occurring in November. And then here we continue. It's the first week of December with this astrological influence theme of restart your engines. So again, on the 1st, the Sagittarius new moon. On the 6th, coming up, the Sun and Mercury are conjunct, so it's a cazimi, where how we think and speak and act, communicate, gets this cleansing from the Sun. Followed by Mars retrogrades. It begins its retrograde at 6 degrees Leo. Then the next day, on the 7th, Venus, who represents the divine feminine and beauty and money and so forth, enters Aquarius. Minutes, hours later, she conjuncts Pluto in Aquarius. Followed by, just later than that, Neptune stations direct, 27 degrees Pisces. So you can see that Neptune's going to be moving into Aries here in the coming months. So big, huge astrological happenings, as above, so below. And so bear all of that in mind. And then all of those activities that are happening on the 6th and the 7th of December, I'm going to go over in a minute in more detail because intuitively I read the astrology charts. There's some powerful stuff in there, but I want to set the stage for a moment. So we're going to go back and we're going to talk about Aquarius and Pluto. So Aquarius is both a zodiac sign and a constellation. The word Aquarius comes from the Latin word aqua, which means water, water carrier, or cup carrier. The constellation Aquarius is sometimes called the water bearer because it's said to look like a person carrying a bucket of water, and its symbol represents water. It became popular when the 1967 musical Hair brought the concept of the age of Aquarius to the public's attention with its opening song, Aquarius. Aquarius, the zodiac sign, is the 11th sign of the zodiac and is a fixed air sign. The ruling planets of Aquarius are Saturn in traditional astrology and Uranus in modern astrology. So here, both the sign and the constellation, but the ruling planets of Aquarius are the great teacher and the higher mind and the expect the unexpected. So in essence, the master weaver, source, the unseen. So we have this, and this fact about, a cupbearer, this individual, if you will, bringing nourishment, living waters to the gods, to humanity. So we have Aquarius. Then we have Aquarius mythology. The constellation Aquarius is associated with water for many reasons, including in ancient times, the rising of Aquarius coincided with the rainy season in the Middle East. So we're going way back, Mesopotamian times, Egyptian times, in that area. The Greeks associated Aquarius with Ganymede, the cupbearer to the gods. The Babylonians associated Aquarius with their god Ea, which is also known as Enki in Mesopotamian mythology, who represents water, wisdom, and creation. So literally the oldest origin story of humanity is in southern Mesopotamia and is the Sumerian pantheon, of which Enki is one of the main gods, the god of water, wisdom, and creation. Arabic astronomers called the constellation a well bucket and named many of its stars with words related to luck. So living waters, life, abundance, prosperity, this relation to luck. Aquarius personality. People born under the sign of Aquarius are said to be creative, community-oriented, altruistic, and natural humanitarians. Age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius is an astrological age that some believe is associated with a shift in consciousness, a desire for change, and a focus on ideas and inspiration. The exact start date is debated, but some say it began on the vernal equinox in 2021, while others focus on a conjunction in 2020. It's generally accepted that we're currently living in the transition, and we had that crossing the threshold into a new tomorrow. That was back on the 27th, last week. So some say the age of Aquarius is a time when people will move from me to we and create new ways of living together. Others say it's an age of hope and innovation, similar to the 19th century when there were revolutions in technology, industry, and government. So you can see this Pluto in Aquarius. The American Revolution, the French Revolution, the Industrial Revolution, it hasn't been there since that time. And here it's talking about that it's similar to the 19th century where there were revolutions in technology, industry, and government. And a complete new way, a whole new world, a whole new way of being. Now, Pluto. Pluto is an intense planet that moves slowly through the zodiac, taking 12 to 30 years to pass through a single sign, and approximately 248 years to orbit the entire zodiac. Pluto is named after the Roman god of the underworld. Pluto represents endings and beginnings, transformation, rebirth, and the depths of the subconscious mind, as well as spiritual growth and rebirth. Pluto represents the process of shedding old ways of thinking and making room for new ones. Pluto represents the process of shedding old ways. Pardon me, that was duplicated. The idea that destruction is a necessary part of birth. So it's making room for these new ways and the idea that destruction is a necessary part of rebirth. It also represents the psychological depths of the subconscious mind and the parts of ourselves that we don't share with others. The pursuit of truth and power and the need to peel back layers to identify who's in charge and secrets and clandestine information. And finally, it represents courage, bravery, and the strength to overcome seemingly impossible circumstances. So when Pluto, who is literally in this pursuit of truth, and power, not meaning in pursuit of power, but who holds it? How do we wield it? How do we hold it? Is the truth at the forefront? And that we peel back, Pluto peels back the layers to identify the truth. What's at the base of, or the root of, power and those who are wielding it and hold it? And secrets and clandestine information. And this overarching aspect of courage, bravery, strength to overcome what appears to be impossible, but it's not. So Pluto in Aquarius, the age of Aquarius. This is the backdrop for all of this. I wanted to just set the stage, if you will, for a moment. Now let's move into, because you cannot make these things up. So, back on the 20th of November, it was season 1 of episode 4 of Weekly Wisdom and Insights. The show is called Rise of the Guardians, Peacock Medicine. And I'm just going to give you the first 2 things. The first one was, from the unseen, was, you've got mail. Important details, information, news, contracts, come to light, come into the light. And it could be internet, mail, voter fraud, envelopes, you name it. The second thing from the unseen in that show was Pluto in Aquarius, a flooding of the airwaves, data dumps, system overloads, again, you name it. So this influx of information. Well, now I want to go to Chani Nicholas. She's an astrologer, amazing astrologer. This is from her The Weekly, issue number 45. Bear that number 45. Just going to let that linger on the palate. She opens with, "You've got mail." This week's Mercury Cazimi sparks insights, ahas, and revelations about the ways you express yourself. Whether you get celestial signals to amp up your opinions or tone things down a notch, listen in. Any messages coming through loud and clear point you toward the lessons you're ready to benefit from. And the schooling doesn't stop there. Mars stations retrograde later in the week and activates slow-mo mode. Your momentum may stall, but it's only temporary. Instead of trying to race forward, seek the wisdom you can only glean from hanging back. What's that old story about the tortoise and the hare? We had the tortoise and the hare many episodes ago. So the beauty of this with Chani Nicholas, now, this is just this week, from 3 weeks ago, from the unseen, You've Got Mail, and that 1985, that 40-year cycle of completion. And now here, 3 weeks forward, Chani Nicholas is literally saying, you've got mail. It's the beauty of the master weaver, of the unseen, of source. Intricately weaving truth, what's happening. And then we're going to move to Astrology by Lauren and just front load all of this before we dive into all of the actual events with the astrological events that are occurring on December 6th and 7th. So this is from Astrology by Lauren, the new moon in Sagittarius. And she begins with a quote from the I Ching. Every person must have something they follow, something that serves them as a lodestar. He or she who follows with conviction the beautiful and the good may feel themselves strengthened by this saying. So it's about following the good, the beautiful and the good. It's about how we wield power, influence. It's our actions and our words and the magnitude and the weight of them. And, both the result and the experience, the repercussion. The unseen is giving me a symbol of the boomerang. What we put out is already coming back to us. So Lauren goes on to say, or says, on December 1st or November 30th, depending on where you are, we have a new moon at 9 degrees Sagittarius, 33 arc minutes. The new moon in Sagittarius pushes us to expand and grow. Our optimism grows in leaps and bounds. And although the ruling planet of Sagittarius is retrograde right now, it does not disappoint. For all that expansion, growth, and optimism is now being channeled within. So there are moments in the astrological influences as everything ebbs and flows. It can be external. When planets are retrograde, it's internal. And so we have this beautiful, push-pull, ebb and flow of where do these influences manifest. As a result, no matter what is going on in the world abroad, no matter what obstacles, challenges, and fears we are working through, we have something much stronger to bolster us up, and that is hope. And that is, hope is at the base of Rise of the Guardians, Peacock Medicine, that eternal wellspring of hope. Lauren continues, Jupiter is retrograde in Gemini, a sign that has to do with communications, information, and data. This is where we tie back. This is where Lauren, Astrology by Lauren, is tying back to 1 and 2 as Chani Nicholas did. So it has to do with communications, information, and data. Mercury, the ruling planet of Gemini, has just stationed retrograde in Sagittarius, Jupiter's sign. while approaching an opposition to Jupiter, which all just sounds like an abundance of noise swirling through, quote, the airwaves nonstop. Pluto and Aquarius, a flooding of the airwaves, data dumps, system overload. By traveling in each other's signs, by both being retrograde and in opposition to one another, this transit will inundate us with information, news, and data. So Lauren, Astrology by Lauren, is literally confirming via the astrology what the unseen gave us 3 weeks ago, pardon me. So she continues, this could feel terribly overwhelming, like a tidal wave washing over us. It will be all we can do to process pieces of it, never mind all of it. The mind races, we feel anxious, or we fall inexorably into a rabbit hole of utter distraction, and it will be difficult to avoid. Remember, the truth is coming at us. They said this weeks ago, the unseen. We cannot turn away from the truth. It's just going to full frontal come at us. You think if you turn off the tablets and the phones and unplug yourself from the grid that you will be fine. But these planets are retrograde. Therefore, they are taking abode within us. So this is meaning we're going to feel it. Whether we're reading it externally, we're going to feel the awareness of all of this information, of all of this truth coming at us. Yes, it can feel overwhelming, but with the new moon square is a friction, square Saturn, we are also being given permission to set our own rules and cherry pick all that information. Take what you need and leave the rest for now. So, as this is all coming at us, don't be the ostrich and bury your head in the sand. But you also don't have to be just this wide open vessel that allows it to just overrun you and overwhelm you. Take it in steps. But this whole you've got mail, this 40-year completion, important details, information, news, contracts, coming to light, and Pluto and Aquarius, a flooding of the airwaves, data dumps, systems overload, there's going to be a lot coming out. There's going to be a lot we're processing. So be gentle with your operating system, your human, your body, your mind, your emotions, all of that. Be mindful. Astrology by Lauren, she continues, Mercury and Jupiter are retrograde, and during the Mercury retro, we are needing to process and make sense of all that has occurred over the past several months. We need to do this important work, and to do so within the parameters of the Jupiter retrograde. During the months that Jupiter is in its retrograde phase, we often become more aware of the unjust or unethical behaviors of others and in society. It is hard to ignore. However, this period is not so much about changing the behaviors of others over which we rarely have any control, so much as whether or not we are living up to our own standards of moral and ethical conduct. In this way, these 4 months that Jupiter are retrograde in Gemini, this 4-month annual journeys with retrograde Jupiter are essential for our own spiritual and moral growth and development, and perhaps more so now more than ever. This is literally stopping to take stock. It's that beautiful saying, you're never lost, you're always somewhere. Where are you? How are you operating in life? What are the choices you are making? What are the words you are using? Are you being moral and ethical? Are you reaching for the stars? And are you emptying your vessel and releasing the past? We are not defined by our past. Allow it to refine you. In that, you have the greatest empowerment. You can atone, you can make epic changes that will align with this epic time, this epic moment. Lauren continues, and this is because Jupiter is making a very relevant but minor aspect to the Dark Lord Pluto, which will perfect on December 13th. Jupiter-Pluto cycles speak to the power of truth and justice. This particular aspect is similar to the opening gibbous phase of the moon, in which we are being tested and asked to apply our core values and put them into application. And so we may ask, what does it mean to do the right thing? What is it's like, it's like, what do you do when no one's looking? It's that thing of making sure that the choices that we make, and this isn't ideal and, airy-fairy and, oh, it sounds great, Dearjames, on paper and whatever, but it's just the truth. When we operate courageously, purely, authentically, then, vistas and doors and opportunities open in a way that, because think about the energy that it takes to do it the other way, to be illicit, to be shadowy, to lie all the time. The energy that takes to sustain that shadow, the darkness, is monumental. It's the beautiful idiom, the truth becomes a part of your past, a lie, your future. Because you're constantly having to relive the lie, retell the lie, remember the lie. It takes a lot of energy. So here, what does it mean to do the right thing? What is the ethical and moral thing to do? When your back is against the wall, what are you willing to put yourself on the line for? What are you willing to take risks for? And imagine, we have many examples in the world where people took shady risks for others. And look at what's happened to their lives. They've been turned upside down because they failed themselves. It's not that they failed another. It's that when it came to mattering, when that moment was upon them, they chose something that undermined their moral compass, their authenticity. Lauren continues, this really gets us back to the very core of our beliefs and to be very clear about who we are, what we stand for, and who we aspire to be in the world. This requires great courage and a strong sense of who we are and what we believe in, so that even in the face of extraordinary odds, even in a struggle for survival, even in the face of evil, if need be, we will stand up for what is right and good and true in whatever ways we can. This is Rise of the Guardians. This is in the face of pitch black, the boogeyman, and the extinguishing of light, and excessive, overwhelming fear. One child would not extinguish his hope, his faith, his belief in something greater, something good. And as he said to pitch black, as he's bearing down on him, he said, it's not that you don't exist. I just don't believe in you. I don't believe in your power. And because he stood up at that moment, he stood for what was right and pure and true. Pitch black was taken to the underworld, and all of the lights, all the children began to believe again. Hope was restored. The lights came back on. That's this moment, this Pluto and Aquarius, all of these celestial energies that are happening right now, these astrological events. Lauren continues, this transit can also be applied internally, in which we ask ourselves, what would it take to be a better person and to inspire others to be so as well? What is my own relationship to power? And what are the things that I do or do not have power over? It's not always easy, but this transit presents as an opportunity to make extraordinary changes in our own lives and the world abroad. Unite, it's internal. It's always an inside job. And so this moment where what's my relationship to power? Am I afraid of power? Do I abuse power? Do I, shriek or shrink from power? Or do I just simply allow it to move through me? I don't wield it or hold it over others. The new moon in Sagittarius is a time of optimism and hope. It usually stands as an opportunity to look to the future with possibility. With the new moon in Sagittarius, it can feel like we are opening a door onto a vast and untrodden vista. The unwritten road, what lies ahead, what lies beyond where we've been. And here Astrology by Lauren is saying, this new moon in Sagittarius, it feels like we're opening a door onto a vast, untrodden vista, a vista filled with extraordinary adventures. And the next step we take is the first step of the rest of our lives. This is, and I just want to, bring up the main theme image, because look, the eagle, there's the beautiful, brilliant star, the guiding star in the upper right. The eagle, in essence, one could say, is turned away from it, but it's not. It's intuitive. It's all-knowing. The eagle is the higher mind. It's the highest. It flies the highest in our universe. And there it is. It's like, this unwritten road, what lies ahead. It's firmly on the branch, and it has this sense of empowerment and power and authority and knowingness and determination. It's filled with the light. It knows. And thus, it's the unwritten road, and it's this untrodden vista and these extraordinary adventures that await us. As Astrology by Lauren, she's saying the next step we take is the first step of the rest of our lives. That is how epic these energies are that are playing out before us. She continues, inspired by the vastness of our prospects, we are poised to step out that door. It may seem like Mercury and Jupiter's retrogrades and the square to Saturn are holding us back and presenting us with extraordinary challenges. Just know that even if that were true, any delays or detours can also turn out to be fortuitous in the end. It's about divine timing. Everything divine. That your soul source connection, the master weaver, knows. And so when you're in frustration or challenge or something, simply ask yourself, is this my human? Is this my ego, my personality that's frustrated? How's my soul doing? Oh, my soul is calm, peaceful. So it's your human, it's your ego, mind, personality that's causing this. And once you recognize that, you release it. You go, okay, show me the way. And it will present itself. And it will be effortless. It'll be easy because you'll be in the flow with your soul source connection, with the unseen, like ego medicine. For those who are going within, to retreat with the retrogrades, do so to restore, to mend, and revitalize. Or do so to strategize, prepare, and organize. Do so to restore your faith and resolve that you can make your big vision a closer and more achievable reality. This year, we are casting our dreams into space in the face of all sorts of obstacles, and maybe even a few setbacks. But we are not being told to give up on our dreams. Rather, we are being told to have faith that all is unfolding precisely as it needs to be for now. And even if it does not appear to be so at first, this too will be part of the journey. Everything's perfect and divine. Everything's purposeful. So allow things to unfold and be in alignment with them, step by step. We've had that song many times, step by step, putting it together, piece by piece. This new moon, square Saturn, is letting us know that the path is going to be challenging. Saturn is never easy. It's the great taskmaster. It's the great teacher. But this new moon is also trine is a harmonic aspect in astrology, is also trine courageous Mars, strong and powerful and determined in the sign of Leo. It is also trine the north node, where we're going. So the north node of the moon in Aries, first sign, astrological sign out of the gate, creating a grand trine in the inspirational element of fire. So Mars in Leo, Aries, this fire element, this creative force element. This moon is here to remind us that there are others here with us, guiding us, leading us, and encouraging us to fulfill our fortunes, our dreams, our destinies, our hopes. Mars brings us the courage to meet insufferable challenges, and the North Node will serve as our guiding light moving forward. So may it be for the good of all concerned. So again, just remember as we're walking with these energies, and they're epic, be mindful of the choices that you're making. You know, it's that Hippocratic oath, do no harm. The age of Aquarius, Pluto in Aquarius, it is we the people, and how when we coming from an authentic place, and what is innate, what comes through us, and when we harness that power, those gifts, that lane, how our magnificence amplifies, magnifies, shines. You're not in competition with anyone. What's yours is already yours. It's already there. If you don't get the part, the job, something, then it wasn't meant for you, because there will be something else far greater, more aligned. The ego mind personality may say, oh, I failed, or oh, I'm upset because I didn't get it, and yet when we release that and we make space for what is ours, what's to come, greatness occurs. Greatness is present. Lauren concludes with a quote by Hannah Sanesh. There are stars whose radiance is visible on Earth, though they have long been extinct. There are people whose brilliance continues to light the world, though they are no longer among, quote unquote, the living. These lights are particularly bright when the night is dark. They light the way for humankind. This is about connecting to the unseen. There's a friend of mine has a beautiful saying, friends are like stars. You don't always see them, but you know they're there. Well, this is the same. This pantheon, this presence of angels and archangels and ascended masters and all who came before us. We stand on the shoulders of giants, and our soul is connected to Source. So again, in this age of Aquarius and these major shifts of the outer planets, this is a time, and the matriarchal era, the Aquarian era, this is the time. If ever there was a time, this is the time to reconnect to your knowing, to your intuition, to the stars, to the heavens, to the unseen. It is not airy-fairy idealism. It's purity and fact and truth. Because that is the new. That is where we're going. That is where the unseen has been guiding us all this time. And the first thing from the unseen, they said, a master class in revision, revisiting the facts, the information. So again, these November, December energies, what's going to play out over the next months is a master class in revision. Revision, a revised version, an act of revising. So let's see what happens on the world stage where a revised version or an act of revision or revisiting occurs. They said revisiting, to visit again, return to. So it's going to be a master class in revision and revisiting the facts, the information. Because again, it can be my way, your way, someone's way, but there's only one truth, or the facts, the information, not what was something that was presented to us or made to appear or look true or factual. There's a master class that's going to occur. The second thing the unseen said was power to the people. The people once again. And the feeling that I had from this was that it harkens to a time that was or that came before. And this power to the people, it's number 2, unity in union, unity. This power to the people once again. And the energies of it really felt what we have an awareness of as Atlantean, Lemurian, where power wasn't authority or wielding something over someone. It was empowerment. It was source, Holy Spirit source energy coming through that just resided in your heart center. There was no disconnect. There was no lack. There was no separation. So this power to the people once again, harkens to a time that came before. And number 3 from the unseen, and we've had this many times, they said, peace be with you and with you. It's an ancient greeting. It goes back to Master Jesus. We've covered that many times. However, this time they said peace, and they hyphened, be with you and with you. So again, we're looking at this sense of recognizing that the unseen source, God, Allah, Buddha, the all that is Master Jesus, ever present, is ever with us, which brings peace. So this peace be with you and with you, meaning we extend that, we want that for others because we want it for ourselves. Imagine the ripple. Astrology by Lauren, she's saying, what can I do that will make me better, the world better? Quite simply, peace be with you and with you. It's to go back 2,000 plus years to a statement made by Master Jesus to the apostles, and then it rippled out. Because what they were saying to one another is, that peace, source, God, I want that with me at all times. And as I greet you, I want it for you as well. Powerful and important. So now let's move into, very quickly, I want to go to hexagram 15, which is about authenticity, humility. Its action is balance. Its hidden influence, liberation, to untangle. And its underlining cause is 10, treading, cautious advance, how we move forward. The receptive is above the mountain, where keeping still returns you to your nature. It is normal to succeed at a point in life and want to keep doing the same thing. Suddenly, what worked before isn't working anymore. This is because life moves in cycles, and the future will never be anything like the past. Moderation and modesty return you to the center of your authenticity. Your unique path hones you for the next level of growth. It is Tao's way to fill what is deficient and to reduce what is in excess. No matter where you look in nature, you find it balancing out its extremes to ensure the well-being of the entire tapestry. And this is from Carrie Hone at cafeausoul.com. Yin is receptive while yang is active. They push and pull until all of life is in equal balance. Authenticity can be a message to step back and slow down. There's Mars retrograde, Mercury retrograde, that slow-mo, to connect with sincerity. Trust that everything is unfolding in its own time and exactly as it should. Moderation is a way of taking stock of your life to ensure that one area has not become so important that other areas are deficient. Pride generates enthusiasm and inspirational freedom, but humility keeps you focused on how you tread on the path so you don't become disconnected from what is right for you. This is about listening to your soul. This is about, yes, we've said 1,000 times, we absolutely need and want a healthy ego-mind personality in service to our soul source connection. When we do that, when we align that, there's humility, there's purity, there's authenticity at the forefront, and all of this creative force and energy and power behind it, fulfilling it, magnifying it, bringing it forward, bringing it to life. It is said that, quote, those who go against the way end up being called unlucky. Authenticity is every step you take and all the steps together that reveal your path. And this brings us to our first quote. The journey of 1,000 miles begins under your feet. And there's this golden path. And what I loved about this image, the yellow golden light, the almost orangey gold path, which is natural earth, and then the tree on the left. It's talking about the journey of 1,000 miles begins under your feet. When you look at the trunk of this tree, it looks like a foot. It's just so fascinating. So the journey of 1,000 miles begins under your feet. It begins within. It is up to us. And our second quote, the way that leads forward seems appears to lead backward. And this is a cosmic wormhole. It's an image of a cosmic wormhole. So the way that leads forward seems to lead backward because the way is always returning. Remember that we come back around, we move in cycles. It will never be exactly the same, but we do move through in cycles. And so both of these quotes, one from Carrie Hone and one from the Master, they speak of our journey and how things may appear, and yet the truth, the facts, the information guides us ever onward, ever forward. It is never backwards, literally backwards, like going back in time or in the past, or reliving that exactly. It doesn't occur. It can't occur. So we are advanced. So now I want to move to, because this is where it gets really, and before I do that quickly, number 4 from the Unseen this week it's the song from The Greatest Showman by Zac Efron and Zendaya, Rewrite the Stars. And you have all of this interwoven messaging about the stars. And the chorus, what if we rewrite the stars? Say you were made to be mine. Nothing could keep us apart. You'd be the one I was meant to find. It's up to you and it's up to me. No one can say what we get to be. So why don't we rewrite the stars? Maybe the world could be ours tonight. This can be between a relationship, our relationship with ourselves, our soul source connection with another. It can be all of us talking about 8 billion souls on the planet saying we choose a different world. We choose to rewrite the stars. This can be between the unseen source God and us. What if we rewrite the stars? Say you were made to be mine. Nothing could keep us apart. You'd be the one I was meant to find. It's up to you and it's up to me. No one can say what we get to be. So why don't we rewrite the stars? Maybe the world could be ours tonight. And there's a beauty in this, the meaning behind the song. The song is an aerial duet between two of the characters, Philip Carlyle, a rich white man, and Anne Wheeler, a poor African-American girl. The two are in love, but destiny seems to keep pulling them away from each other. Lyrically, the song takes on the subject of controlling their own fate and not letting the stars, the stories they are destined to live, tell them otherwise. While Philip takes on a more optimistic tone, noting that they could rewrite the stars and change their destiny, Anne takes on a more realistic approach, believing that even though they love each other, no one can rewrite the stars or do the impossible. So here's the polarity, the conflict. But what both of them are saying, because there's optimism, Philip is demonstrating optimism, and Anne is demonstrating fear. They ultimately triumph. They ultimately rewrite the stars. So whether it's a love relationship or someone telling us that we can't have what our dreams, what our soul knows to be ours, rewrite the stars. Make the impossible possible. Dream, hope, be authentic. Get out of ego, mind, personality, or shadow aspects of it to align it with your soul source connection. And number 5 from the unseen, they said, I heard, blessed are the people. Psalm 144:15 is this, blessed are the people. And its meaning, it portrays the abundance of God's blessings. We're being showered with opportunity, with abundance, with blessings. Age of Aquarius, Pluto in Aquarius, all the major planets getting ready to change. 4 of the 5 getting ready to change. It's like we are being, the mandrake being uprooted to be transplanted into a larger container, a larger pot. Humanity is being implored to listen, to take heed, and to act in accordance with truth, authenticity, humility, faith, courage, hope. We're being yelled, not yelled at, but the octave of it is loud, because there is this reckoning. I think I said in a few episodes back the word reconcile. The word I was looking for was reckoning. So there's both a reconciliation, but there's a reckoning that's occurring. They happen simultaneously, but it's like the reckoning comes first. Blessed are the people. Aquarian, we the people. Blessed are the people. Power to the people once again. Peace be with you and with you. Because this is the unwritten road. This is what lies ahead. What lies beyond where we've been. So now we're going to move into our mantra. I am open to a whole new world of possibility. Be open to it. There is nothing to fear. It's John F. Kennedy. There's nothing to fear but fear itself. We're not going back. We don't live in the past. So be open. I am open to a whole new world of possibility. And our key word before I go into the final part of all of these astrological influences and a couple Sabian symbols, because they are off the charts. Our key word, summons, a call, request, demand, signal, or order to do something, especially to appear in person or attend at a specified place or time. We are being called forward. We are being summoned. There's a summons from the unseen, from the master weaver, from source, from the unseen. An official order requiring a person to attend. A call by authority to appear at a place named or to attend to a duty. A document that informs a person or business that they have been charged. So you can see that we can be called, we're show up, we're being summoned. We can also, equally, a document that informs a person or business that they have been charged. It's a perfect lead-in for where we're going. So, as you all know, I intuit the astrological chart, the interior of the chart, the circle in the center, the red and blue lines. This is the chart for Mars retrograde that's coming up on December 6th. It's going to be retrograde through latter February. And again, energies ripple out. When I saw this, the first thing I heard was Custer's last stand, aggression, anarchy, before the fall. Now, Custer's last stand is when the Lakota Sioux, the Northern Cheyenne, and the Arapaho nations, tribes, united to defeat U.S. forces in 1876. So there was this Custer's last stand, this aggression, anarchy. It's like the divine masculine, the patriarch, the Piscean era. It's like this Custer's last stand, and this just gnashing and, nastiness and aggression and anger and anarchy before the fall. anarchy, a state of disorder due to absence or non-recognition of authority or other controlling systems. So there's this disorder because we don't recognize it. We don't recognize the order. That is certainly playing out in our current world affairs. Then with this, I also heard London Bridge is falling down. So this Custer's Last Stand and this London Bridge is falling down. That nursery rhyme is a metaphor for something collapsing or failing. We have talked about this a lot, that this era is over, it's complete, and while it collapses, the tower, it collapses, simultaneously the whole new is rising, it's beginning. Then we go to the chart for Venus enters Aquarius, and all of these things are happening. There's subtle changes in the charts. But when I saw this image, it was immediately the collapse, and you see it's almost like that crown that's splitting, cracking, splitting, falls off. Well, it's the collapse of the old order, the old regime, the old paradigm. So there's this collapse that occurs. So we have Custer's Last Stand, aggression, anarchy, London Bridge is falling down for the collapsing or the failing. Then the actual event, the collapse of the old order, regime, paradigm. The next chart is where Venus literally conjuncts Pluto in Aquarius. And then I heard the upheaval, the end, exclamation point. Everything turned, quote, on its head, upside down, right side up. And what was interesting about that, so the upheaval, the end. Everything turned on its head, upside down, right side up. So again, data information, you've got mail, a flooding of the airwaves, data dumps, things coming. This is saying when Venus, that sacred feminine, the oldest symbol, it's 4000 BC. Here's the sacred feminine, conjunct Pluto in Aquarius, revolution. We've waited for this time. It's been 248 years. The upheaval, the end. Everything turned on its head, upside down. The interesting part was right side up, meaning that which has been oppressed, suppressed, comes right side up. So the disinformation collapses. The illusions, the lies collapse. It's the upheaval of it and the end of it. Where then the truth, the information, that which is authentic and true, becomes right side up. It's lifted up so that we all see it. It's all there. And lastly is then Neptune direct. This is the chart for Neptune direct. And with this chart, they said, boxing them in. Order restored. So in essence, this was about, you see the blue lines, the blue triangles on the outer sides and the reds in the middle. It was like this boxing them in. And order is restored. And this sense of what marginalized, that they're marginalized and minimized. And then I saw and heard key figures, key players. There's a highlight on the word players, because when you're playing at something or when you're being mischievous and illicit, you're a player. And so this boxing them in, orders restored. And remember, Neptune represents illusion, but it also represents higher ideals. What we reach for the stars, that we can make the impossible possible. We can rewrite the stars. We can do this. It's absolutely possible. And what this is saying to me with these energies, again, where we began the show with these November just going to bring up the November energies. Major things happened in the month of November, astrologically. As above, so below. And then here's just the first week in December. The Sagittarius new moon, the Sun, Mercury, Cazimi, Mars retrograde, Venus enters Aquarius, Venus conjunct Pluto in Aquarius, and Neptune stations direct. I mean, this coupled with what happened in November, and all of this playing out for days, weeks, and months to come, and one would say eons to come, because it's setting the stage for the new. It's setting the stage for where we are going. And they culminated these 4 charts that I just went through, and how the players, the shadowy stuff, I'm going to use that word, I'm not going to use a cuss word, the shadowy stuff gets marginalized, minimized, boxed in. And that this applies to key figures, key players. And then they said, I heard the phrase, uncharted waters. And uncharted waters is an idiom that refers to a new or unfamiliar situation, or an area that is not yet explored or recorded on a map. So when all of this happens, we're going to be in uncharted territory, because it hasn't happened before, and it's extraordinary. Now, before we close, I know we're tight on time, but I wanted to get this in last week, and I wasn't able to, so we're going to extend just a little bit here. Bear with me. It's the Sabian. There are 3 or 4 Sabian symbols that I want to get to. One of them is for the Sun, Mercury, Cazimi, and it's the groundhog looking for its shadow on Groundhog Day, February 2nd. The keynote is the value of anticipating new turns of events and ascertaining future prospects. So this is about what's coming, like, what are we looking at? It's again, perspective. So, and it's in its highest form, the knowledge required is eonic consciousness. Eonic, relating to vast expansive time periods. It's eternal. In modern terms, the new science of prospective, likely to happen at a future date, concerned with or applying to the future. So we have this groundhog thing of what foretelling the future. It is all about the unwritten road, what lies ahead, what lies beyond, and this eagle medicine, this higher view. And I said we were going to cover eagle medicine, and I've got to get it in as well. So the last part of it. I'm going to do these very quickly. The Lot of Fortune, a parade of bathing beauties before large beach crowds. The setting of social standards through personal excellence and competition. And it's very Americana. And it says, in the zodiac, the spring season has ended. It is summer solstice. Fulfillment leads to new demands upon the individual human consciousness. The show is over. The players being minimized, contained, marginalized. And players meaning illicit, shadowy. The show is over. Now comes the hour of decision. So again, hark back to the collapse, the fall, the tower moment of this, the show of it, bathing beauties. I mean, the kind of misogyny of that and so forth. The show is over. This is the one that's just stunningly on point. Lilith. Lilith is the first wife of Adam. She represents the sacred feminine. The symbol, the Sabian symbol, and this is from Dane Ruddier, an astrological mandala. 2 men placed under arrest. The keynote, a breakdown in the constructive relationship between the individual and society and the expectable result. If it is to remain steady and consistent, every form of order must be able to protect itself by the application of sanctions. Both a society and a personal ego constitute forms of order. Any form of order excludes what the form cannot securely and safely hold. It excludes or exiles the alien, the unassimilable. If it cannot send them to outer space, it must isolate them in a special type of inner space, a prison. They're being marginalized, they're being contained, they're being boxed in. The individual whose actions introduce unacceptable principles into the established order runs the risk of being punished or reformed according to this order. A masterclass in revision, revisiting the facts, the information. The problem for a society is how to include in its patterns of order agencies or channels for transformation, and particularly how to keep them truly operative. For individuals, it is how to make their transforming vision or impulse acceptable to society. The symbol does not reveal what caused the breakdown in the relationship between the individual and society. But if one also considers the symbols that follow, one's thoughts may be led back to the image of the storm that wrecked boat landings. The suggestion is that whatever violence is released originates in unconscious pressures, the sea and the wind. A new step in the evolution of society, the industrial and electronic revolutions of the last 150 years, caused a collective worldwide upheaval which led to widespread violence. The shadow aspect of these, we're dealing with the shadow aspects, we're dealing with the truth coming at us. Pluto represents everything that was hidden, the underbelly, and brings it up into the light, so we have to face it and deal with it. The fact that two men are pictured under arrest suggests a polarization and a purpose transcending a merely personal fit of recklessness. This is the third stage of the 40th sequence, 40 years, the 40-year cycle. Welcome, Sue. Negative as the image may seem, one may see implied in it the power in every individual to assume social risks, to express their convictions or deepest desires. Nevertheless, one thing is needed: facing the consequences. There's a reckoning. There's reconciliation, but there's a reckoning that is occurring first and simultaneously. So, again, watch on the world stage in these next days, weeks, months, to the power of this. And we will close with this final aspect from Jess Hagen, Urban Healers of LA.com, Eagle Medicine. When Eagle arrives, and there are other, by the way, there are other Sabian symbols that I will post them in the Facebook Dearjames show thread. Epic for this moment. Very powerful. From Jess Hagen. When Eagle arrives, it is time to drop the mental analysis and the caution and go where the wind lifts you. Shapeshift into the courage of Eagle. She is the thunderclap, the strike of lightning, the cosmic spark of new life in a seed or an egg. And so are you. Eagle medicine is the experience of eliminating mental doubt as well as emotional insecurity so that thoughts and feelings align into silent perfection. This is honing into your soul, listening to your soul source connection, going as guided. In native teachings, Eagle medicine is of the highest vibrational frequency of all animal medicines. Along with buffalo, she presides over all sacred ceremonies. Her feather medicine cannot be used for harmful, negative purposes. When in the presence of Eagle medicine, any selfish plots or intrigues unfold into a greater good for all involved. In the unveiling, in the tower moment, in the collapse, and it transitions into something positive because the facts, the truth, the light, the information comes to the fore, is lifted up. Unlike owl medicine or crow medicine, Eagle is not neutral. She is only positive. In the cosmic order of things, the opposite of positive is not negative. The opposite of positive is neutral. From inside neutral, we choose to take either a positive or negative perspective. It's a choice. Negative lives inside the neural space of free will, where we live. When in the realm of Eagle medicine, we are outside the neutral third dimension in the greater reality. The source of all that is, joy. This is peace, be with you and with you. Eagle medicine is the realm of all that is, all is well. To engage big medicine, we must make manageable amounts of space in our lives over time rather than one large space once a year. So this is daily. In every action, word, thought, deed, keep choosing, because we're engaging big medicine. It's eagle medicine, peacock medicine, eagle medicine. And so it's to say, instead of trying to do it in one lump sum, incorporate it daily. The eagle spirit animal totem asks us why life is worth living. If you've drawn eagle in reverse, your spirits may be reaching dangerously low levels, and it is time to rise and connect with a metaphysical, beyond physical, stream of energy. When we lose connection to the metaphysical experiences beyond daily life oddly loses its meaning. When we lose our soul source connection, when we ignore it, when we don't even believe it exists, daily life loses its meaning. And this is hearkening again to a time, harkens to a time that came before this power to the people once again, this connectivity, this resilience, this force and power that moves through. It's like they're just showing me, it's like vibrating and humming. Like I'm seeing silhouettes of human beings and they're just glowing and vibrating because the force is within them. It's coming through them. It's within them. They're the embodiment of it. And it's just integrated. It's unified. When the eagle spirit animal totem is out of balance in our lives, we may be resisting our true calling. We may have decided to take everything at face value without any spark of mystery. Are you settling for the safe and reliable at the expense of finding your gifts and powers? It is only a matter of time before eagle lands to reveal to you some new aspect of the greater reality. The eagle totem asks that we not get stuck in the illusions of solid matter. It's to see beyond what's on the surface. It's to see the divine in one another. Namaste. Newtonian science solved mystery after mystery, answering question after technical question with accurate and measurable proof. But it never solved the mystery of the isness of life. That is a silent space within us all, and eagle is inviting you in. It's about connecting. Science is about proving what is about the proven, what we can prove. It becomes tangible. Science has yet to ever prove the unseen. It doesn't prove that it doesn't exist. It clearly exists. It just means that science hasn't caught up with the ability to prove what is ever present. That does occur and is unexplainable. So eagle medicine is inviting us into that space to connect to what, reach for the stars, rewrite the stars. Lastly, with Jess Hagen, eagle can see the mouse and the mountain all at once. She is aware of the large and the small functions of daily life. She understands that all is small, and in its simplicity lies the miraculous. Eagle medicine has the ability to expand the mundane into the extraordinary, because all that is ultimately extraordinary. You all are extraordinary. This moment is extraordinary. We are being summoned. There's a summons. We're being summoned. We're being called to embrace, and not only embrace, but recognize and realize that we are the custodians. We chose to be here, and we are the custodians of this moment, this epic moment of change, of transformation, of and how it's going to play out. And thus, you can see I'm like tongue-tied a little bit because it's like so masterful, and masterclass in revision and revisiting the facts. So I'm going to conclude. We're well over time, and I apologize. I love you all, and I'm going to conclude with peace be with you, because in that space and place, everything, all is possible. We will see you next week. Until then, be well.